Hey guys, in this video we're going to be checking out a new microquad here. It's called the Jumper X86, and it's got these sort of tiny whoop style prop guards. Very, very durable. This is not 3D printed plastic here. This is molded plastic, and it's a little bit on the heavy side. I'll give you a weight measurement here a little bit, but the whole frame is very stiff and very durable and crashes. It's like a tank. I've crashed this a ton. And actually nothing has broken on this. So if you guys are looking for a beginner micro and are concerned about durability, this is actually not a bad product. It's a little bit on the heavy side, but if you're a beginner, it's probably not going to be too much of a problem because it'll actually keep it a little bit slower than faster. And actually, it's still pretty fast. I tried flying this indoors and crashed it quite a bit because it was just too fast for my little house, and it flies on these little 2-inch DYS propellers, and the motors are these I think they're rebranded motors. It's called the Jumper 1104 7500 kV motor. You can see if it'll come into focus there. And I think these are DYS rebranded 1104 7500 kV motors. They look pretty similar to those. Plenty of power and pretty fast if you give it enough forward tilt. So I actually flew it outside for the demo, and this is pretty unique. It doesn't come with the normal all 4-in-1 ESC stacker in the middle with the flight controller. They actually put the ESCs here out in the side of the frame, sort of like this. So there's one ESC over here and then another here, and they're a little bit on the big side. They're 10 amp ESCs, BLHeli S. They're running D-Shot 600 out of the box, but they're kind of big for a 10 amp ESC. They almost look like a 20 amp ESC. So I'm kind of curious where these ESCs came from and why they designed it this way with the ESCs here in the side, like so, but instead of in the middle here, which is what most of these micros have been doing. But whatever. It seems to work just fine. And there doesn't seem any problems in terms of like setting it up in terms of BLHeli configurator, and the ESCs run the motors pretty smooth in terms of throttle management. So in the bottom here you have a PDB for all the electrical connections for your ESCs along with the signal wires, and you got your battery lead back here. It doesn't come with anything in the box, which is kind of unusual. I thought maybe this was a pre-production version, which is why it didn't come with any instructions or any batteries or anything. Only thing that came in was this little Allen wrench here for the screws here to hold the canopy on, and also screws on the bottom. No instructions, no battery, no charger. Pretty much all you get is this quad and the Allen wrench. That's it. It might be that the actual retail versions might come with additional information. I'm not sure. What's also interesting is that there were no instructions online on the product spec page, so I had a little bit of trouble figuring out how to get this to bind and stuff. This little stack here basically is a two-layer stack. You got a PDB on this side, and you got a flight controller on the top. There's a spare part that actually encompasses both of these parts here: the flight controller, video transmitter, receiver, and the PDB. So I actually went to that page and figured out that the little bind button is actually inside this little hole here. It's actually, this hole leads you to the bind button, which is on the other board. So you press that while plugging in the battery to bind it to get the receiver to go into bind mode. It's a FreeSky D8 receiver. It has telemetry, and it runs PPM. And then the other thing that I figured out was underneath this rubber band here, which holds the battery, is a set of dip switches right there for changing your video transmitter channels and bands. So that's something that took me a little while to figure, because it was kind of hidden. And it's like, well, how do I change the channels on my video transmitter? Because there's no other controls or buttons anywhere else. Now there's 3 dip switches here. There's actually for some kind of race tracker, and there's a little race tracker LED back here. This is for your timing your laps. I'm not too familiar with how that works, and I think you need other equipment to actually measure your laps with this device, but that's on there if you need it. You got a little antenna back here. This is the video transmitter antenna. and it's just linear. It's a monopole. It's not dipole. It's 25 milliwatt video transmitter, and it's built in to the flight controller. It's soldered onto the flight controller, along with the FreeSky receiver. And this is the antenna for the FreeSky receiver sticking out here, and that's also soldered onto the flight controller. It's the F3 flight controller with Betaflight OSD on there, so it's actually running the Omnibus F3 target. And so it's got the F3 chip, it's got an MPU 6000 gyro, so it's all pretty good equipment. It's all on this one little board here. You got a flight controller, OSD, video transmitter, and receiver all on that one board. So it's pretty compact setup. I think one of the downsides is on this setup is that the receiver has this little dinky antenna that's kind of like a tiny whip antenna, and I think that's going to limit your range. I didn't really go too far. I didn't have any fail safes, but I don't think going beyond 100 meters is feasible with this little antenna here. I wouldn't recommend going too far. The camera here is just a 600 TV line camera. I think it's similar to the one that was on the UB XL microquad. Nothing too spectacular in terms of the camera. It's CMOS, micro-sized, pretty decent light handling. It's not fantastic, but you'll see in that flight demo what kind of video quality you get here. Okay, so here's a weight measurement of this, and it's about 81 grams. That's with the props and no battery, fully assembled. As I said, it's a bit heavy for a 2-inch setup here. If you're running 2S batteries, these 7500 kV motors are going to be, it's going to be pretty adequate power, but nothing spectacular. So the battery that I was using was my typical Nanotech 300 milliamp hour 45 to 90C battery. Fits pretty nicely in here. And the way this is set up with the rubber band is that the battery is protected by these little landing gear here. So if you land pretty hard, the battery doesn't get squished, like other micros where the battery is pretty much exposed. I was getting about 3 minutes on this battery, which is typical for 2 to 2.5 inch propeller on these 1104 motors. I was also using the 450 size battery from the Aurora 90, and I was getting about 4.5 to 5 minutes on those batteries. Okay, so I'll go ahead and run some flight footage of this, and let me know if you guys have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Windier out there. Okay. Too bad. Too good. Okay.
Oops. Oops. I think all the noise because of the ducks.
Yeah, and the props.
Yeah.
The DYS props aren't that good.
Yeah.
They're full nosed and they're very noisy.
Okay.